सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। We are starting with the text. Thesis on God. Before we go into the text, a brief introduction about the text. Then we move on to the text. Humanity always is very intrigued about this God. There is always this ideas and ideology about God. One set accepts God, another set rejects God. God created man or man created God. Who created God? Did God create man or man create God? If God has created man, what is the nature of God? Compassionate, merciful, affectionate, all that. So if God has created the man, a human, he should have created a human being as merciful, compassionate. But then you see a human being is not. A human being doesn't have all these things naturally. So, did God create man or man create God? Sir, in this classroom, we have accepted that there is God, and then only we are coming and sitting now. Sir, what is your problem? If we have said there is no God, why will we even come and sit in this class? The fact that we are sitting here means we have accepted that there is God. In your lifetime, if you see one person who has investigated about God and come to the right conclusion, you are lucky. You are lucky to have lived in that generation. You are lucky to have met such a person. Not it's not as easy as what we think God is. So, what we are going to do in this discussion is we are going to start all over again. Whatsoever your notions of God is, whatsoever your understanding of God is, what is it? Whatsoever notions of God you have, whatsoever understanding of God you have, notions, understanding, I'm using it synonymously. Notions, understanding, both I'm using it synonymously. I'm not using it in a different sense. So, what what is this idea of God? One set accepts God, another set rejects God. Both are on the same plane because both have not inquired about God. To accept God or reject God. To accept or reject, you should have done some inquiry. At the end of the inquiry, you accept or reject. You don't accept or reject first and then do the inquiry. It is like I don't know whether it is there now also. Previously, it used to be there. In the mathematics books, The last few pages will have the answers for all the problems. So what they will do, they will see the answer first. They will see the answer first and then try to arrive at the analysis. Now, invariably you can never come to the answer because you don't accept or reject first and then do the inquiry. First you do the inquiry. The conditioning doesn't allow us to inquire. The conditioning doesn't allow us to inquire. So what we are doing now, we are inquiring about God. When we say we are inquiring about God, we are inquiring about our conditionings. Please understand that. When we are inquiring about God, what are we inquiring? We are inquiring and analyzing our own conditionings. What are the conditionings? That's how I started. The word God itself is so intriguing for humanity from the beginning. If at all there is a beginning, from the beginning, it is showing the word God itself. Then one set accepts God, another set rejects God. Another inquiry about God is this: did man create God or God create man? Appears to be as though man created God rather than God creating a human. Did God create human being or human being created God? Now, if we say God is compassionate, merciful, loving, he should have created a human being with, human being should also have these properties, qualities. But then what do you see? We want others to have these qualities. Yeah. We want others to have all these qualities. What are the qualities? We want others to be compassionate. We want others to be merciful. We want others to do that. So it looks like if God has created human being wouldn't be like this. Another way, human being always have a psychological need of somebody taking care of me. There is a psychological need in a human being that there is a protector. Somebody is taking care of me. Mind wants this, what nowadays they call as comfort zone. Mind always goes into this comfort zone. What is the comfort zone of the mind? That there is somebody to take care, to protect. Out of this psychological need, the human being created God. He created God and he started worshipping the God that he created. He created God and he started worshipping the God that he created. I am not saying what is right, what is wrong. These are all the various theories that is going around God. In this thesis on God, we are going to inquire about everything. But sir, we know God is consciousness. We know God is Brahman. We know God is Atman. Yeah. Then there is no thesis required. Then there is no textbook required because we already know it. But the fact is we do not. The fact is we do not know. And then another way, if you look at it, the whole idea of God itself keeps evolving. God itself evolves as you evolve. The idea of God changes as you change. at the very basic elementary level, God is seen as a punisher. The tribal religions, they see God as one who is they see God as a punisher. And if God is a punisher, what you have to do? And the way to escape from his wrath, the way to escape from his anger, the way to escape from his punishment is, what do you have to do? Very simple, sir. Please him. That's all. Please him. You please him, he is all right. You please him, he is all right. And how to please him? That is why we have Ganesh Chaturthi. Modaka we give to please him. Janmashtami we give Seedai and Murku to please him. Ram Navami we give something else to please him. So right through we keep pleasing him, and that God that is pleased will protect. By protecting you, he has to make sure that your enemies are, when that God is protecting you, that same God has to make sure that your enemies are not protected. As he is protecting you, your enemies has to be hurt. So God has to do two things now. What are the two things that he has to do? He has to protect you, and he has to hurt to those who are inimical to you. Imagine that the enemy also worshipping a god. Now the fight will be between two gods now. Now who is fighting? Human beings are not fighting. God starts fighting. Absurdity of idea of God, absurdity of human thinking, absurdity of religion. Then that's where we see, even in the Puranic stories, Krishna lifted the Govardhan Giri. For what? You know that story, no? What is that story? If you don't worship Indra, Indra will get angry. And if God gets angry, what he will do? God gets angry, what he will do? He will set COVID-19. Vaccine kurta kuda, you will get COVID-19. Yeah. Even after taking vaccines also, you will get COVID-19. If God gets angry, what he will do? He will start punishing. So Krishna said, no, we don't worship God like that. That's why he was a rebel. Able to follow? Why I'm saying all this is not a new thought. This has been there. Every generation goes through this process. Every generation goes through this understanding. And one or two gains the clarity. Rest simply continue with their conditioning and move on from one Janma to another Janma. So all the Yadavas thought every year you have to please Indra, and if Indra gets angry, and Indra has Vajrayuda, thunderbolt, lightning. And he will send lightning and he will make the whole lot gets. Krishna said, I will not worship that. We will not worship that Indra. Then whom do we worship? Here is this hill that is protecting us. No, the cow is protected by the hill. So let us worship the hill. So here you find God from a punisher. The notion of God also changes. God from a punisher to God, one who is compassionate one, affectionate God. First you see God being tribal, God being gods get angry very soon. You see the Old Testament gods, all those gods get angry very soon. And you have to keep pleasing them all the time. From there, it evolves to what? God is a God is not, God doesn't get angry. He is compassionate. As long as you restrict God's compassion only to yourself, this definition, God being compassionate, is very much agreeable and understandable. The moment you bring about God as one who is universally compassionate, then we do not know really what to speak. To save the human beings, virus has to be killed. If the virus has to survive, human beings has to get killed. Compassionate God, what he will do? He will see what is better. For in his creation, all are equal. So there is no inferior or. So beyond a point, we have no courage or conviction to inquire into God. And to inquire about God, tremendous strength and conviction is required. Courage is required. Lot of intellectual courage is required. Because why I am saying intellectual courage is because all the conditioning gets. Inquiring about God is nothing but inquiring about your own conditionings. And when you are inquiring about your conditionings, what happens? Suddenly you feel all that was giving you solace and comfort is gone. So from God to a punisher who wants peace all the time, from that God moves to compassionate to yourself and to the worshippers of that God. And then comes God as the, and then comes God as the neutral entity. And then God is a neutral entity. This is one series of we are going to study all this, sir. That's why I said I'm only giving you a brief introduction about this word God. From another angle, what is this God? Who is God? What is God? Creator, sir. Where is the problem? God is the God is the creator. You see a shoe, there is a shoemaker. You see a watch, there is a watchmaker. You see the table, there is the table maker. You see the world, there is the world maker. And that world maker is God. And that world maker is God. And the only advantage of this God is he will manufacture and you can't accountable for, he is not accountable for, a manufacturer is accountable, no? God is the manufacturer of the world and he is not accountable for, accountable, yeah, he is not accountable at all, because where will you go and find him to hold him accountable? So you can go on saying there is no such thing called God, there is no such thing called God, there is no such thing called God. Here we are starting the inquiry to say whether there is God or there is no God. We will not conclude and start our analysis. Finally, we will see what is God and all. The word thesis means, what does the word thesis mean? The word thesis means there is a hypothesis and then you provide logic and reason to support it. You provide logic and reason to support it. You provide logic and reason to whatever is against it. You give logic and reason to support that also, and then finally come to a conclusion. That is called thesis. So you start with the hypothesis, you end as a law. What you start with hypothesis, you end as a law. This is called thesis. This is called thesis. The moment you propose a theory, immediately what comes? Whenever you propose a theory, that's what very beautifully they say. Wherever the thesis is proposed, antithesis is born with the thesis. Wherever thesis is gone, wherever thesis is produced, the very production of the thesis is the birth of antithesis. So there is this thesis, and then there is something called antithesis, and then you go through all this, and then finally you come. That is called synthesis. Thesis, antithesis, meaning the pros and cons of both sides. That's all. Both the pros and cons of both sides, and then you come to a conclusion, and that conclusion is irrefutable. A conclusion that is irrefutable. This is called the thesis. You look at the dictionary, thesis means they will say what the university student produce. Yeah. Bachelor student will produce a thesis. Master student will produce a thesis. Doctoral student also produces the thesis. Postdoctoral student also produces a thesis. Now, what is thesis means? A proposition, a theory, and then series of arguments for and against. The person who is putting the thesis has to give the arguments for and against. He will not wait for somebody to come and give another. That's why in all the traditional commentaries, they will always say Purva Paksha, opponent view, opponent view, opponent view. They will give an explanation, and then they will give the opponent view, and then they will give the answer to that also. Second page you go, you will split your hair and you will say it is not. இதெல்லாம் இவ்வளோலாம் தேவையே இல்லை சார். ஏதோ ஏதோ somehow we live life. Somehow we live life. Be unselfish. ஏதோ 4 பேருக்கு நல்லது பண்ணிட்டு போயினே இருக்கலாம் சார். Why waste time in all this hair splitting? Why waste time in all this hair splitting analysis? For it is so clear that there is, God. First thing is we all have a psychological need of a savior, a protector. That's why when somebody says, I will take care, na water, don't worry, I will take care, na water relief it gives. And if that person who is going to take care is all powerful, are you able to follow? The need is we want somebody to take care, protect, a savior. And your protection is dependent upon the capacity of the savior. No, 100 rupees can save you, 1000 rupees can save you, 1,000,000 can save you, 100 million can save you. As the number goes on increasing, the intensity of the protection is. How do you feel? You feel more protected, more protected. More the numbers, you feel more protected. Therefore, we are in need of a protector, and that need of protector created a God, and that God has to be omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. Therefore, with his infinite capabilities, if there is an entity with infinite capabilities protecting me, if there is an infinite power that is protecting me, what it means? If there is a power that is protecting you, what it means? Anybody? If there is an infinite power that is protecting you, it means you are above the law. It implies that you are above the law and you can do whatsoever you want. I know the counselor Abdina, I can do to some extent I can do. If I know the chief minister, na, in the state I can do. If I know the prime minister, na, suppose the prime minister says, you do what you want, don't worry. What happens after that? There is the protector, makes me to believe that I am above law. I am above law. I can do anything and everything. All that I need to do is to please that God, and that God will act. So, first thing, if God says, I am not your savior, I am not your protector, na, all religious places of worship will get closed. Yeah, they will close straight away. All religions they will close straight away. Why? Because then what is this point? Then what is the point of? Then what is the point of God when He is not going to? If He is not going to save you and protect you. If I am my savior, if I am my protector, again there is no need for. Again there is no need for God either. So இந்த மாதிரிலாம் பேசினே இருந்தா even the little bit of bhakti here and there we have, that also goes away, sir. அதனால தான் இந்த வேதாந்தா கிளாஸ் எல்லாம், எஸ்பெஷலி யுவர் கிளாஸஸ் என்றால் பக்தியே கிடையாது சார் உங்க கிளாஸ்ல. நோ டிவோஷன் அட் ஆல் இன் யுவர் கிளாஸ். I don't know what it is, sir. You continue to talk like this. There is no bhakti at all. There is no devotion at all in your classes. What is the point of what is bhakti then? What is devotion then? Here we are not concluding about God. When you start a text, how do you start a text? When you start a text, you have the humility to keep aside all that you know and cooperate. That is how you start a text. When you read a text, how do you start? How do you read? You keep aside all that you know and look at it afresh. Look at it fresh. Why I post all these questions is not to ridicule the practices, is not to ridicule God, is not to insult God, is not to deny God. Who is the speaker to insult God or protect God? Who is the speaker to promote God or deny God? It makes no sense. Are you able to follow? Therefore, what are we going to do? We are going to discuss this idea of God in a very transparent, logical manner where conditionings are going to be, all our conditionings about God is going to get broken. In the current generation, in the current century, new problem of God. Is God male protector or female protector? Yeah. New thing that God also has to be addressed now. Why God is only protecting the males? Why not female? Now that also has to be. You go into this analysis, the very idea of God is so vague and weird. That is why the belief on God is called a blind belief. A person who didn't have the courage to explore these questions and then come to the answer has the right knowledge and understanding. A person who didn't go through all these and simply independent of a simply who is independent of the a protector, savior. So, first thing that we have to understand is out of the psychological need of wanting a savior, protector, we don't see God. We don't see God in that manner. We are not saying God is not a protector or savior. We are not saying that. As of now, we are saying to say God as a protector has to be inquired and then we will come to the conclusion. Is God the savior? We will inquire and then we'll come to the conclusion. So that is why the book is entitled Theses. Thesis means theory. Synonym. If you look at the synonym of thesis, theory, a proposition, theory on God. Yeah. Theory on God. Why theory on God? Because you have not inquired, investigated. Therefore, it is a theory. And how it will move on, the theory, it will move on based on the principle of known to unknown. The whole discussion, the whole discussion will move on from the idea of known to the unknown. You cannot come from unknown to the known. You move from known to the unknown. We have seen this any number of times. The principle of education, the fundamental principle of education is to move from known to the unknown. Is God with form or without form? You can't give an answer because you really don't, you are not moving from known to the, you are not moving from known to the unknown. A great thinker, Vivekananda said, all God is man's creation, he said, human's creation. Why? Because all of them have human faces. All of them have human faces. What is the difference between ordinary human and God? Ordinary human will have 2 hands. God will have 4 hands, 8 hands, 16 hands. I don't know how many, depending on, I don't know, depending on that. And then he says something which is so blasphemous, which people could not digest, accept. If all the buffaloes were to sit and create the God, what will be the image of God? Huge buffalo head. A huge buffalo head. If ordinary buffaloes have four, I don't know, what do you call that? Hands or legs or what do you call that? I don't know really what to call that. Even though people call it as four legs. Some it has four. And what would be that buffalo have? God buffalo. I'm not saying this. Don't get angry at me. Vivekananda said this. And whoever has a picture of Vivekananda in your house, think about this and then look at this picture. Yeah. Think about this and then look at this picture. And still, if you want to keep his picture, keep his picture. I can give you the references of all. And I am disowning all that I say. Yeah. Silence. I'm not responsible for anything that I say. I only aggregate and I give. So whoever, if you get angry, I will give you the reference. You can get angry at that person who has. What are you saying, sir? Time passed till 9 o'clock. That's all. I have to engage you till 9 o'clock. That's all I do. I don't say, is God male or female? Is God with form or without form? Is God one or many? Something that is so fascinating to inquire. So fascinating to inquire. So intriguing it is. So much of depth it has. What is required to explore? What is required to explore? To explore, an intellectual honesty is required. An intellectual honesty is required for exploration. And what does that intellectual honesty means? All that I have is borrowed. I really do not know. All that I have is borrowed information. That is intellectual honesty. All that I have is borrowed information. Some grandmother told me something I picked up from the lecture, something I have picked up from somewhere else, and the notion of God that I have is a chuda of hodgepodge of all put together. Huh? With form, without form, what is it? Male or female? Male or female belongs to the body. There is no male intellect, female intellect is discrimination. No, there is no male discrimination, female discrimination. So we understand male and female is only in relation to the biology, to the body. There is no male intellect, there is no female intellect. That is why both male and female will sit and learn the same thing. Yeah. There is no male physics, female physics, correct? There is no male mathematics, female mathematics. There is no male chemistry and female. Yes, sir. Chemistry. Chemistry. This male and female belongs to the biology, to the gross. Even in the human, when you go subtler, this male female thing doesn't exist. Then how can it exist at the level of the supreme? We are all attached to the families, and so God, if God has a family, it is very comfortable and soothing, because just as God is keeping his family all the time with him, you can also keep your family, because God is also with his family, no? So, how does it work? We move on the principle of known to unknown. We will not address these questions in the beginning. This is what we are going to address, but we move from known to the unknown. Then the inquiry is, then the inquiry has a basis. Then the inquiry has a reasoning. Then the inquiry has certain a direction. If you are inquiring about the unknown directly, you are clueless, you are directionless, you are all over. Not only you are clueless, directionless, all over, where you will end up? You will end up in some blind belief with some fanatic notion. A person who has a blind belief or a fanatic idea is the one who is always frightened or threatened, because somebody can come and break that conditioning. From my childhood, I always used to think this. I don't know whether you have observed this. All theists will be afraid of one atheist. Because I used to go and attend and talk to them a lot, and I have attended their meetings. I have spoken to quite a few of them in a big way. I used to wonder when they asked me, where did you go? I said, I went and met so and so. I heard a talk, I met so and so. They used to get so afraid. Have you ever observed all the theists will be afraid of the atheist? And I have not seen any atheist afraid of atheist. It should be the other way around, isn't it? It should be the other way around. But then, why? Because deep down we know that our notion of God is just a conditioning. Our notion of God is just a conditioning. Our idea of God is just a superstitious belief. And if He is going to wake us up from that belief, we are frightened of Him. Why are we frightened of Him? Because He is going to wake us up. He is going to wake us up. In thesis of God, we are not following the methodology of an atheist, nor are we following the methodology of the theist. The atheist is one who didn't do proper inquiry and came to the conclusion there is no God. A theist is one who just blindly believes and has come to the conclusion that there is God. Now, we are not going to say that there is God, nor are we saying there is no God. That's what the title means, thesis on God. Nowhere in the Upanishads you will find the mention of word God. Nowhere the word God is, nowhere the word God is mentioned. So, first step is, what do we mean by the word God? How do we define the word God? We defined the thesis, no? We defined the thesis. How are we going to define God now? That's why he starts. God is an X. God is X. When you solve a problem, he's going to, when we start reading the book, we will be reading all that. How he starts. When you solve a mathematical problem, you start by saying, let X be the answer. And surely X is not the answer. Just because you let X be the answer. Therefore, what is God? How are we defining the word God here? We are defining it as X. X means unknown. X means unknown. We do not know it. If we do not know it, what you need to do? If you are interested in knowing it, there is a methodology to know it. If you say, I am not interested in knowing it, then it is different. If you say, I am interested in knowing it, then you have to follow the methodology. If you say, I am not interested in knowing it, then you are. Yeah. அடுத்த டெக்ஸ்ட் ஆரம்பிக்கும் போது whenever we will finish this text, அடுத்த டெக்ஸ்ட் ஆரம்பிக்கும் போது வெங்கட்ட மெசேஜ் போட்டால் அப்போ வரலாம். Because sir, I know God, sir, God and all, I have no problem about God and all. My problem is COVID-19 fear now. My problem is not about God. My problem is how to handle my husband is the problem. Yeah. My problem is how to handle my father and mother is the problem. Yeah. My problem is how do I handle my own children. Yeah. That is what I am worried that. That is my problem, not what is God. Here the assumption is, what is the assumption here? Adhikari. When we read Atma Bodha, in the very first introductory portion to Atma Bodha, we saw what is the subject matter, to whom it is addressed, the methodology, the result. Before we read a book, we need to, any introduction to a book means it has to address these 4 points. Now what I am doing is addressing these 4 points. Now who is the adhikari? The one who is intrigued about this idea of God. Not out of fear. We are not inquiring about God out of fear. We are not inquiring about God out of a conclusion already that there is God. We are inquiring about God with how we approach a problem, how we approach any solution, in a process of logic, reason, analysis, conclusion. Propose the theory, gather data, as a thesis. Propose a theory. If you want to do, first thing they ask, I want to do PhD. First question they will ask is, on what? Whatever you want me to do, you can't do PhD like that. Yeah. Whatever subject you want me to do, I will do PhD. The fellow will say, get out. Or you have nothing to propose. So on what you want to do a research. So first you propose something. And then you gather data. And then what do you do? There has to be a methodology of logic, reason, and analysis. Part of the logic, reason, and analysis is taking into view of the opposite also. What technically in Vedantic language we call as Purva Paksha. Purva Paksha means opponent's view. Opponent not as a fighter, please understand, it's not a fight. Opponent means one who is not fighting with you. Thesis means it will have a thesis will have an antithesis. Yeah. So you weigh all that. The process of logic, reason, analysis. Tarka, Nyaya, Mimamsa. The Tarka, the Nyaya, these are all the independent sciences evolved to inquire about God. The sciences of Tarka, Nyaya, Mimamsa means logic, reason, and analysis evolved to this inquiry. What is this inquiry? What is God? Is there a God? If there is, what no, so to because it is the most penetrative, lot of discipline is required. Intellectual discipline is required. If the subject matter is deeper and deeper, the discipline required becomes more and more. And today, the most indisciplined thing is religion. Because anybody believes they can do anything and they can call it as religious. So what is the methodology? Tarka, Nyaya, Mimamsa, and all that. To whom it is addressed to whom it is addressed to? It is addressed to the one who is having this inquiry. But if I don't have, I don't have any doubt about God at all, sir, na, maybe yeah, breakfast after போயிடலாம். Yeah, we all can go for the breakfast. What is the pala, prayojana, benefit, result? That is also very important. You have to establish the benefit. What is the benefit of this? In the inquiry about God, your intellect gets strengthened. And that strong intellect would help you to deal with the affairs of the world. Shipram hi manushe loke. Bhagavad Gita. Shipram hi manushe loke. This penetrative inquiry strengthens your buddhi. That is why the inquiry of God, what is the prayojana? What is the benefit? Intellect becomes stronger. How does intellect become stronger? Because your conditionings are questioned and you are fearlessly facing it, analyzing it, thinking about it. When you are breaking your conditionings, what are you breaking? When you are breaking your conditionings, what are you breaking? You are breaking your mind. You are breaking your ignorance. When the conditionings are broken, your ignorance is broken. That's the prayojana. That's the benefit. Everyone follow? You become free. You become free. Otherwise, it is ignorance. Otherwise, it is full of ignorance. What is ignorance? Everything about life is ignorant. Intelligence can never become wise, because more intelligent you become, more intelligent you become, evolved, more intelligent you become, more difficulties you get into. Okay. Have you ever observed, more and more intelligent you become, more and more frightened you get? More and more information you get, more and more frightened. அதுக்கு தான் கூகுள் பண்ணவே கூடாதுன்றது இல்லையா? That is why if you have to save your life, stop Googling, because more and more and more. Uh, I'm not working for Microsoft or Apple. Huh? Yeah, why are you all the time again? Maybe Microsoft is sponsoring you, maybe Apple is sponsoring you. It doesn't really matter. Information, intelligence causes more and more intelligent you become, more and more frightened you get. That is why you need an intellect. And intellect becomes sharp and penetrative only when it inquires the conditionings. Only when it breaks the conditioning, intellect becomes strong. And what is the way to break the conditioning? The most effective way to break the conditioning, the most effective way to break the ignorance, most effective way to break the ignorance is inquire about God. Inquire about God. That's why in this culture, the study starts with inquiry about God. There is an anta here. Nowhere else there is anta. There is an anta here. Anta means end. Veda means knowledge. Anta means end. This brings about an end to the this brings an end to the ignorance. It brings an end to the ignorance. So what is the prayojana? The end of knowledge. Veda anta. Veda plus anta equals Vedanta. Clear? Veda plus anta equals Vedanta. Therefore, what is it that we are inquiring here? We are inquiring into the nature of God, following the process by the one who is interested for the purpose of removal of ignorance. For the purpose of removal of ignorance. Called Ajnana Nivritti. Removal of removal of Ajnanam. This is the introduction to thesis on God. I was about to start by saying a brief introduction. And then I realized my brief is always very long. Yeah. I have a very long briefing. Yeah. Briefing na kuttiya sonna adukku per briefing. Yeah. And then I realized that my briefing is always very long. Therefore, I said, why say simply start with introduction. This is on God. The benefit of reading the Upanishads is the benefit of reading this text. As we go through the text, I will give those references. It's not a collection book of quotes on Upanishads. It is not that. Please don't misunderstand it like that. The Upanishadic inquiry. What is the Upanishadic inquiry? The known to unknown. What is Upanishadic inquiry? Known to unknown. You will never find Upanishadic inquiry starting with is God with form or without form. No questions about God will be asked there. Keneshitam patati preshitam manaha येन प्राणः प्रथम प्रैति युक्तः केनेशिदां वाचमिमां वदन्ति चक्षुश्रोत्रं कौदेवो युनक्ति. What is it that enlivens all this? Known to the unknown. A very bold inquiry. Our inquiry about God is not that bold. Our inquiry about God is not that bold as the boldness of the Upanishad. What is that knowing by which I know? Everything. What is that knowing by which I know? Everything. Knowledge. Some say there is nothing after death. Some say there is life after death. What is it? David Paul, educators ask this question to Yama. Some say there is Punarjanma, sir. Where is the problem? எதுக்கு இதெல்லாம் போட்டு time waste பண்ணிட்டு? Where are wasting time in all this thing? It is very clear. Punarjanma. Punaha api, punaha api. How many times you have said in the class, sir? Yeah. Punarjanma. And you think Punarjanma means going to some hotel and having a coffee and coming back, no? If you really understand that there is a Punarjanma that you are going to have, you will be free now. Free from the anxieties, free from the worries, free from the pressure, free from the crying, free from all the miseries. Why? Because you will start laughing at it. The moment you understand that there is Punarjanma, you will start laughing at all this. Why you start laughing at all this? How many times to sit and cry over the same thing again and again and again? You laugh at it, no? How do you know that you have transcended the problem? When you can laugh at it. When you can laugh at it, you know you have transcended it. You can laugh at it. You can have a belly laughter. Yeah. That's why the laughing Buddhas they have, no? Belly laughter they have. Not ordinary laughter. Yeah. Number laughter it doesn't go. Yeah. Yeah. Very few has that belly. Very few has that belly laughter. Yeah. Laughter means you have understood you have realized the insignificance of it. Correct? Laughter means you have understood the insignificance of it. When you meet your childhood friends, you laugh at that, no? You laugh at it. But your present day problem, you are not able to laugh. Why? At that point of time, it was a problem, isn't it? You go to a house, everybody in that house has a problem, correct? You go to any house, everybody in that house has a problem, and nobody can laugh. Why? Because when you're having a problem, how can you? கஷ்டத்துல இருக்கும்போது எப்படி சார் சிரிக்க முடியும் இல்லையா? அது உங்களை மாதிரி heartless people தான் can. Yeah, heartless people only will laugh. When you're having the father wakes up, father has a problem. Share market has crashed. Father has a problem. Looking at the father having a problem, mother is having a problem. Looking at the father and mother having a problem, the child is having a problem. Independent also child has a problem. What is the problem of the child? Exams are coming. Will you know the girl Sakshi, she's 5.5 years old. I think she's not even 6 year old. She was visiting 3 weeks back. She was saying, oh, Monday, the Zoom classes will start. LKG classes, huh? LKG. Now she is having a problem. Now you are laughing at it. Why? You are laughing at it. Why? Because you have transcended it. Are you able to follow? You are laughing at it because you have transcended it. But if somebody laughs at your problem, you'll get very angry. Yeah. Heartless people, sir. That's why you are laughing. Just as the child thinks that you are heartless. And especially when the child is having a problem, you feel like really laughing, no? And you laugh only. Yeah. Why? Are you able to follow? That's why when the childhood friends meet, they have a belly laughter about what? What all they were frightened about. Yeah. What all they were frightened about. All years back, it happened. Then the school that you study calls you and respects you as a person. Because when you are in that school, you are not even respected as a human being. No, you are not even respected as a human being. Now the same school calls you, and all the teachers are there, respecting you as a human being. I was telling my friend, hey, that the other girl, she was telling me, hey, you remember, இவரை பார்த்து எப்படி பயப்படுவோம்? Yeah. How much we used to fear sky. The same person is sitting in front. Yeah. Now he is fearing us. What is the difference? So, what is it that the knowledge does? Inquiry does. It brings about a laughter. When you really understand this knowledge, when you really digest this knowledge, you become so relaxed. Why? Because there is no problem. Otherwise, there is always a problem. At 25, it's a different problem. At 15, it's a different problem. Huh? No boyfriend, no girlfriend. That's problem at 15. Yeah. The biggest problem of life at 15 is what? You are proposing, proposing, proposing. All your proposals are refused, and you are desperate to get someone, and invariably you will get stuck with some. I don't know who you get stuck with. 15. At 30, another problem. At 50, another problem. At 80, what is the problem? At 80, what is the problem? One of the great persons wrote, it's a very crude example, but it conveys the point very beautifully. At 80, what is the problem? He says, he wrote about his own life. He says, now that I am 80, what is my problem now? I wake up in the morning answering the nature's call. If it happens, I am happy. The same man, problem after problem. Huh? Are you able to follow? What is the benefit of this penetration? The benefit of this penetration is you understand the benefit of this penetration is all your ignorance comes to an end. Ignorance comes to an end means your worry, your anxiety, your crying, your misery, your frustration, all that comes to an end. That's what is meant by ignorance coming to an end. What is meant by ignorance coming to an end? Your worry and anxiety comes to an end. Your fears comes to an end. Your insecurities comes to an end. Therefore, what they did in this culture, they started inquiring about the subtlest. They started inquiring about the subtlest. And when you start inquiring about the subtlest, that inquiry capacity strengthens the intellect so much that down the line you will be able to handle everything. Are you able to see the connection now? I don't know. எனக்கு தெரியுது அவ்வளவுதான். I am able to see. I don't know whether you are able to see it or not. When you have penetrated and understood about the subtlest, down the line, dealing with everything becomes a child's play, a leela, a sport. That's why for a wise man who has known this, life becomes a leela. Life becomes a leela. Life becomes a sport. Krishna leela, we say no. Life becomes a sport. Why life becomes a sport? Because there is no problem at all for him to be serious. There is no problem at all for him to worry and cry. When will you worry? When will you cry? When will you fear? Yeah, yeah. Such a, it freezes the human being, the fear. Freezes. Not knowing what to do, the uncertainty. And the very nature of life is so uncertain, it freezes the human being. And desperately he is trying to overcome the uncertainty. All efforts of a human being is to overcome the uncertainty. More he overcomes one uncertainty, ஒரு uncertainty open up பண்ணா another pops up. When humanity thought we are advancing in science and technology, we are nobody can conquer us, unconquerable. We are unconquerable. Technological advances, medical advances have made us believe that we are on top of the world now. The whole lot came crashing down. The whole lot has come crashing down. And it creates so much of panic. How do you deal with the COVID-19 virus, sir? You are suffering with a greater virus, the virus of attachment and fear. Two viruses, much, much deeper than the COVID-19. I'm not saying I am vaccinated. Both the doses I have taken. Both the doses I have taken. So, virus, two deadly viruses. Virus of attachment and the virus of fear. Intellect is that which helps you to handle this. It means it has to be that sharp, it has to be that precise, it has to be that penetrative. Intelligence will not give you this. Intelligence will not give you this. Merely accepting that there is God will not give you this. Merely believing that there is God will not give you this. Because the question is, why God gave COVID-19? No. Mere belief in God will not give you this. Merely doing things will not give this. Then what will give you this? The boldness with which you inquire. And very few people have the strength to inquire. Weak. When you are weak, all that you need is, when you are weak, what will you look for? Solace. See, when you are weak, all that you need is solace and comfort. Yeah, you don't need knowledge. You are not interested in knowledge. That's why knowledge will not help when you are in acute distress. Knowledge will not help because when you are in acute distress, what will help? Solace. Knowledge doesn't give solace. Huh? Knowledge doesn't give solace. For knowledge is penetrative. Knowledge is penetrative, blunt. It's plain. It's blunt. It's clear. It's straightforward. It's penetrative. And mind doesn't want any of this. Therefore, it is not just the inquiry about God. By this process of inquiry about God alone, the intellect also becomes strong. The intellect also becomes strong by this because it is breaking all your conditionings. It is making you fearless. Fearlessness. Opposite of that is living in fear. It doesn't really matter about what you fear. It doesn't really matter about what you fear. Fear as such can destroy you. Some say, I fear myself, sir. No, it doesn't matter whether you fear yourself or you fear the person next to you. Fearlessness is the benefit of thesis on God. A sharp intellect is the benefit of thesis on God. It is not to ridicule anything. It is not to insult anything. It is not to belittle anything. It is a very bold inquiry. Thesis on God. With this, we conclude for today. Introduction முடிஞ்சுதான் என்னால சொல்ல முடியாது. With this we conclude for today as to what is this book, Thesis on God. I'm sure everybody will be having a copy. I'm sure everybody will be having a copy. If you don't have a copy, you can always get one copy, and it is easy to, because we'll be following the same pattern. We'll be reading topic after topic, and then we'll be discussing the topic. So if you have the book, it's easy to follow. So keep the book in hand for the session. It would be easy to follow. Thesis on God. One of the fascinating, and the beauty is how it is made so. It's made so simple that it's impossible to believe that it can be made so. It can be made so simple. Wisdom is keeping things simple. Ignorance is complicated. You know that, no? Wisdom is to keep things simple. Ignorance complicates. Wisdom keeps it simple. And simplicity comes out of much effort. Effortlessness comes out of much effort. Yeah. Paradox. Wisdom makes it effortless, and that effortlessness comes out of much effort. If something is effortless, means you should be able to understand the amount of effort that has gone into it. That effort is for what? Sheer compassion. So, sheer love and compassion for the humanity. That much of effort for what? Just love and passion for the humanity. So, this is the book, Thesis on God. we would go into the text from the next week. இன்னைக்கு ஒரு கொஸ்டின் இருக்காது.
சந்திரலேகா
அவளை எடிட் பண்ணுங்க குரூப்ல இருந்து. You didn't hear what I said, no?
Yeah, you said, sir, that Krishna said don't pray to Indra.
Yes.
So why? And so he said, to whom should you pray? Don't pray at all.
He said, if at all you have to pray, pray to the mountain, pray to the pasture land, he said. For this is what is saving us, protecting you. Pray to the, that is why he changed the prayer from Indra to the mountain. He said, pray. By all means, you have to pray. He didn't say don't pray at all. But then your prayer should not be out of fear. Your prayer should not be out of asking, begging. Pray out of gratitude. Pray. The mountain is protecting you. The pasture land is saving you. Pray. Say thankful. Say thank you to that. That is prayer. Instead of worshipping some Indra out of fear. So he said, prayer out of fear is no prayer at all. What is prayer then? Thankfulness, expressing your gratitude. What? Known to the unknown. First to pray, first to be grateful to the known. Yeah. First to be grateful to the known. Those who have served you directly, be grateful. The father, the mother, howsoever nagging they are, howsoever irritating, frustrating they are, they have served. So be grateful. So he's saying start the gratitude from known and move to the unknown. It's very symbolic. The beauty of this book is we'll be reading the symbolism. Somewhere there is a topic. We'll be reading the symbolism. There is another topic on the relevance of rituals. There is another topic on the relevance of prayer. When we go there, we would discuss all this in detail. I will bring the relevant symbolism of you, and we will, when we talk about the relevance of rituals, we are not ridiculing the rituals, but we talk about the relevance of it. There we will do the symbolism of all that. Is it okay, Ma? Yes. So, don't pray to Indra out of fear. Prayer means gratitude, and gratitude must start from the known. Angry and frustrated and irritated with the known and grateful to the unknown. Doesn't? Angry and irritated and frustrated, cursing and fighting and irritated with all the known and being grateful, thankful to the unknown is self-deception. Don't deceive yourself. That's what Krishna is saying. Don't deceive yourself. In the name of prayer, you are deceiving yourself. Self-deception. Don't do that. Avalladana, Venkat? Yeah. With this, we conclude for today, and we continue with the text the next day.